Right, let's go then. So here we are, guys. It's episode 10 of the Tennessee Titans UK Fans podcast. Once again, I'm joined by David and James. So uh, excited. We've won a game. We have Victory Monday for the first time this season. So
Woo!
just going to quickly set the scene because I missed the second half last night because I fell asleep. I was woken at 1:15 in the UK by a fire engine outside my house because my neighbour decided to set his garage alight. Picked my phone up, had a look at it, and I was like, 21-22? That can't be right. You know, when I saw it, it was 21-6. I thought this is not right. This cannot be the Titans. I checked various social media outlets, and yes, saw the Titans had won. So although I was distracted by a fire engine, which kept me awake, I was then buzzing because the Titans won. So guys, let me know your thoughts about our first victory of the season, which is going to snowball into more victories, and we're going to go on to the Super Bowl.
Well, it was one you didn't see coming at three-quarters of the game, whereas the last couple of games, well, not last week, but the ones before, the fourth quarter has been when the game goes away. This time it was a complete turnaround. I mean, from the moment Murray got hit in the face with the ball, it was just bizarre that how that turned around. Um, 1 second they had no hope really, and then it just all clicked and balls things were going their way. Really one of the most bizarre endings you'll ever see. Just shows why we love football.
Yes, that was it was just mental, wasn't it? It's like I always say it's a game of two halves, but in this it's a game of four quarters, and for three quarters of the game, it
Three and a
was
half
just
quarters.
it was just the worst thing I've ever watched, and I was struggling. My wife fell asleep within the second quarter. She was like, nah, she was over it. I was struggling. I was just constantly sitting there. I think it was the third quarter when we went for three and outs in a row. I was like, this is just terrible. It just can't get any worse. And I was just about to flick to red zone, and then it all just went. I was like, I'm never going to see the Titans in red zone. And then it was just like, oh my God. Then it came up with a flash and, oh, the Titans are in red zone. And I quickly went back onto it and I was like, oh my God, they're actually doing something. And yeah, it was just I'm under the influence. This is a controversial statement. I'm under the influence that we didn't win that game. The Cardinals lost it. And but yeah, we'll come on to that. But yeah, it was good. It was nice to have that victory. It's nice to be able to post something on social media before a game and then back it up after the game with saying, yeah, we won. Whereas normally it's just I just go quiet for 24 hours and just not mention anything to do with the NFL.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because it's nice to see. I mean, I managed, thankfully, before we started tonight, I managed to quickly squeeze the highlights in after I walked home from work and managed to get some food down me. And just even watching the highlights, you're kind of thinking, well, the third quarter we did nothing, and it wasn't until like the last kind of the last quarter and the last part of the quarter we seemed to wake up. So I know I feel the same as you that maybe the Cardinals threw it away. But fair play to the Titans, they kept going, which I think is what we've kind of lacked a little bit is the team just constantly pushing along and going for it. Kind of like you felt like they've given up as well. But I mean, when I saw the highlights earlier and I saw we missed that 2 point conversion towards the end, I bet when you watch that live, you're probably just thinking, well, that's it, game over.
Mm.
You just think, fair play to Callahan. And I said this before, he was quite assertive with his decision. He went for it, which is what we want to see. Yeah, they missed it, but at least they tried it. But yeah, I can imagine seeing that live. It was quite a bit of disappointment because you had that glimmer of hope for a moment. It's taken away from you, and yet somehow they managed to win it. Now I did see that kick at the end by Slide. Now I don't know what you guys thought of it, but I thought that was very close to not actually going through. I'm a bit worried about his kicks at the moment, but I'm sure that's something we'll pick up later anyway.
I think it looks closer because you see the end and where it finally stops at the back is a bit outside, but I think he was quite a bit inside when it actually goes through the goal line or the goal post rather.
Let's just not talk about anything to do with him being good because the last time we said
No.
about how good we were, we've just been on the most awful run of field goals. In the day, it was a short one, and he did what his job was, and he did it. So it was good.
Well, that's it. And like you say, he's Nick Folk, I think, still a good kicker. I'm still surprised we moved on from him. But the slide looks quite good, and he can get them from further out, which is probably what they were thinking. And to be fair, the further out he is, the better he seems to be, which is a bit of a concern from a kicker because you think the closer they get, the easier it is for them. But even the commentator last night, I thought, when I watched back earlier, even the commentator was a little bit unsure for a second it was going to go through. But I mean, what a moment, to get your first win, last few seconds of the game. Like David said earlier, that's why we love live sport. It's why we love the NFL, because even when you're dead and buried, because let's be honest, you guys, at half time and even during the third quarter, we were dead and buried, weren't we? That was over, wasn't it? And yet still to come back, even though we are possibly one of the worst teams in the NFL at the moment, to come back and push forward and win. I mean, Ridley was catching balls. I mean, I'm sure that was a surprise to every Titans fan, every NFL fan, that Ridley's actually woken up this season. So it's good to see. Obviously, Cam Ward. I mean, I was reading I've made some notes, so I've had half an hour at work today to go through some stuff. I mean, Cam Ward's fourth quarter. I mean, he threw 265 yards in the entire game. And yet the fourth quarter, they said he got 193 yards. I mean, for a rookie quarterback to push on that. Now, was that poor defending by the Cardinals, or watching the game? Do you think that was the Titans doing well?
No, I mean, at that score, you're not certain of holding the game at 16, or sorry, 21-6. So they had to be playing reasonably tough, and they were obviously tougher in the final after they'd scored. So I think they hadn't sort of just decided, oh, we've won, let's coast it. I think Cam was throwing well. So I don't know how, but the receivers were getting open. Oh yeah, the whole game they'd hardly had any separation, and they were finding all these gaps. He dumped off the passes, and they were in the right places. Um, so and I don't know why Chig was. I mean, he had. I don't know if he had actually the ball thrown at him for the three-quarters of the game, and then in the final quarter he was getting the ball passed all the time, and and same with Helm. I mean, I don't understand why they're not being used more.
Yeah, it was just I made the error, and in fact I'm not going to say it's an error. It was a tactical comment that I thought if I slate Cam Ward, then he's going to come back to bite me, and I'll take that one for the team. That's fine. You can thank me, you guys, later. Um, but he was so bad. It was just there was drops in the game, but they weren't even like you could say the wide receivers should catch them, but a lot of them were just bad placed balls. Like they're too high. I think the one to Chestnut was really high for him, and it was just he was under no pressure. There was no like coverage on him. It was an easy pass. There was one to Lockett, and he threw it behind him. And there was a couple where I was getting a bit frustrated, and I think I when you have got a lot of hype, and I was very pro Cam, that he just wasn't. He has those little glimmers where he does those really good passes, like that touchdown to Iron Man, the first one was really good, but he seemed so inaccurate. But then the fourth quarter, it was like a different Cam, completely different Cam. Every throw was on the money. Like every single throw. The one to Helm in the deep was so good. The one to Ridley, everything was into the player's movement. So the player was running into catching. There was, I think, that even the commentator said something about the Helm catch was like, oh, that wasn't the greatest of passes. And the co-commentator just laughed and went, that ball was on the money. That was such a good pass. Like it was just, oh yeah, it was just a different Cam. And you're thinking, it literally felt like the first three quarters Cam was really trying to force everything. I think that's why he throws the ball so hard. He's just trying to get it out. He's trying to make something happen. He's trying to make the plays. But when he relaxed in the fourth quarter, everything was just working. It was just that final drive. I mean, the drive was so good for a rookie to do that under that amount of pressure. It was good. It was nice to see, and hopefully he can build on that.
That's it. In a lot of sports, it's all about confidence, isn't it? You know, you can have somebody who's could be as good as a sport, be it any sport this refers to. They could be the best player or the best performer in the world, and yet when they've got no confidence, they can tail off and not be very good. So, like I say, hopefully, like I say, he was getting a few passes away and it gave him that confidence. And yeah, when you have confidence, it will give you freedom.
Hmm.
Obviously, throughout the season, I did see your comments last night on Facebook. You were very anti-Cam at one point, and I did think, well, blimey, last week he was saying what a great player he was. Obviously,
It was
that's it. That's the joys
anti-Cam.
of sport again, isn't it?
It was just
Frustration.
it was frustrations that nothing was going right. We just didn't seem to be doing anything. Nothing seemed to be working. And I did say I hope to be proven wrong. I was. I ended up with egg on my face. I'm grateful for the egg on my face. But yeah, it was.
I'd like to see a picture later of somebody in the crowd saying, "Cal, have you seen this? Who's Bailey saying this about you? I'm going to prove him wrong." I need to see if I can make a meme out of that.
Just
Like I
fire
say,
him up.
I think the
like you
thing we
say,
have
yeah.
to remember is that Cam is only a rookie. He's bound to have, have mistakes, and we've got a poorish line, and I think he's sort of trying sometimes a bit too hard, and that's why he's throwing it a bit quickly and thinking he's got less time than he actually has. And so, well, obviously sometimes he doesn't have less time, but it's one of these things. I wouldn't be too concerned at this point whether he has a slightly poorer games or poorer periods in games, but you're looking at the long-term picture.
I think it's that thing, isn't it? With rookies, we haven't had like a rookie quarterback, a first round rookie quarterback for since Mariota, and so and especially the year before when you see like Jaden Daniels, the year before that you've got Stroud. You see all these quarterbacks they're doing so well, and don't get me wrong, Stroud's fall off until the last two games was incredible, but these players just light up. You kind of expect it to happen for the Titans, and I think we're in a different place to what those were. All those teams had pieces in place to make these quarterbacks thrive. It's just, I think it's that start of the season. You go so long without the NFL, and you get the number one pick. You get the best quarterback. You read up so much about his college. You see all his college tape. They show the highlights, all his great plays. You're like, oh my god, he's gonna be amazing. We're going Super Bowl, and we're in the first game. You're literally like back to reality. We suck, and I guess it's that thing of process of trying to get used to that. We know he's got to grow into the position.
Well, that jump from college to the actual NFL is a massive jump, isn't it? I say you kind of think it's the same game. It's like soccer, for example. If you're playing top level in one division, you should be able to jump to the next, and it's not always possible because it's different. It's me. I enjoy watching college football because it's quite an open game. I find. I think players get a lot more time. There's a lot more space, and obviously when you get to the NFL, you get into the elite American football players, and that's where he's going to be learning now that it's going to be more physical. These are real men who are going to rip him down and tear him apart. They're going to hurt him now even more than before, and he's not going to get the time. But he should have better players around him, so that should make it easier. But obviously, as we're missing a few pieces, like you said there, it's other teams are built around. Then they bring a quarterback in. We've fallen apart. Then brought in a first round pick for the quarterback. So it's going to take a while to build up, isn't it? It's going to take a while to get him in there. And we have to accept that. Well, the thing is, they always build them up, don't they? These first rounders. Yes, he's like the chosen one, and you kind of sold this dream for a moment. Then you realise, okay, maybe this dream isn't going to happen just yet. But to be fair, I still think Cam's going to come good. I know last night you obviously thought different, James. Well, I think he is going to come good. He is going to be frustrating because like I say, we missed the NFL from like pretty much from January because we've not got a player for a few years. From January till August, September, there's no American football, so you've got such a massive gap. And then when it's here, you just want to win. And recent years have been good for the Titans, and I think that's where we've been struggling. Now we've been blessed with recent years of being good. Now we're not so good. We're not enjoying it as much. But just going back to the game, so when I was watching the highlights, Amari? I'm going to read his name here because the Mercado was it? Who dropped the ball after a 72-yard run. So I was watching about the highlights, and as he was running up, I thought, hang on. So they didn't score in the second half. Where's the flag? I was waiting for I've lost my flag now. I was waiting for the flag to come up and appear, and I was like, "Well, there's no flag. What's going on?" And when you see it back, and was it Sneed who
Steve,
pushed the ball?
Steve.
Yeah, yeah. Like I say, fair play to Sneed because he just pushed on. Any other player would have given that up. Maybe he's seen the criticism that's come his way recently, and he's then decided, well, I need to continue here. And when he got knocked it out, I mean, to be fair, even watching them back, I did think that still looked pretty close. Do you guys think that was a bit closer than you thought at the time? Were you thinking, no way is this going to
When I first
go
saw
Titans'
it,
way?
or the first replay, I still thought it was probably it was going to be ruled that he was just on the ball was just on the line before it started to come out. But then when you looked at the second and third, you thought, no, actually, maybe the ball wasn't he wasn't in because as soon as it leaves his back of his hand, he's not in his control. So maybe we got a chance. And then when they showed the final one, obviously he was well out.
It's a second replay, wasn't it? It's the from a different angle. But it just so I always think, you know, the thing is, I always feel really bad for the player that does that. And this one, I was just like, it was just that really weird feeling. I felt really bad, but at the same time, I'm like, I was trying to understand the rules as well behind it because obviously I was trying to think, oh well, do they? Because he fumbled it, and do they still have the play? Because he fumbled it on like the wherever the 1 yard lines, the ball will be placed there, and they carry on from there. So I was trying to work out, and then it was like it's a touchback, then we get the ball, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is like it's completely changed, and obviously it changed the whole momentum. It was just, I say, Cardinals lost us. They lost that game. They should. That was we would have been dead and buried. There'd be no comeback after that. Um, and yeah, it's just one of those weird things, isn't it? Not going to complain.
No?
Well, it's nice actually in a way that we got the decision to go away in the end because we've seen over the years sometimes you've seen decisions not go our way. So I guess because you've seen it over the years, you're just thinking it's not going to go our way. It's just when they do the replays and the referees are discussing it, you just think, ah, no, it's this the Titans, isn't it? So I guess to get that, then it then rallied the troops to go on in that fourth quarter to win the game. So yeah, it's good to see in the end actually that we actually finally got some decisions going our way. How do you think the game management went with Callahan and the new play caller? Do you think there's been a difference shown so far with that? Do you think it's shown an improvement?
Did you watch the third quarter?
I watched highlights. There wasn't a lot going on.
There was no difference. It was awful. It was just awful play. Apart that the fourth quarter, you could say completely different, but for the majority of the game, I don't know it's hard. I mean, I'm not the greatest. I mean, David's probably the best person to speak to about this. I've just
Well,
jumped.
it's not so much the play calling, it's the actual plays that they seem to be running. They seem some of the times they seem far too intricate, and other times sort of just the receivers just don't get open, and Cam ends up throwing the ball away and whatnot, or else they try a run and they seem to have just funny sets that they're in, and they miss a block and it just breaks down completely. So I don't necessarily think it's the actual play calling. I think it's the list of plays they have to call from that's part of the problem, as well as maybe obviously personnel who don't necessarily do the right things.
What would you have done in that situation right at the end? So we haven't won a game in 10 games or whatever it's been. It's been a long time.
Like 10 games is 10 games. I can
10 games.
confirm that.
Cam hasn't been that great, and the team itself hasn't been that great. And we get down to the end, and I understand why we went for the field goal, but in my opinion, I feel like because we just kept kneeling, I would have liked to have seen us try, like run the ball. Okay, you are reliant on people holding onto the ball and fumbling it. The I would have liked to have seen Cam get a touchdown, like either run a Russian touchdown or even such Pollard. I feel like that's a good way to finish a drive, and that would have, especially if Cam got like a throw-in touchdown, it would have just really elevated that win a lot more. and it would have pushed them on. Don't get me wrong, it's obviously they're still gonna have a nice high, but just think that Cam would have won us the game, and that like narrative that would have gone around with Cam, completing the drive. I was just a bit surprised at the time that they were kneeling it. I think it was that the excitement of that whole drive building up to it. I was like, oh, just let him finish the job, just let him punch it in. And they just kept kneeling, and I'm like, oh no, they were relying on Sly, and I'm like, he's missed so many shots, and I'm like, oh, is he gonna do it?
I think the thing is that you run the clock down, so they've got no time left, but you have to take the risk of, say they'd fumbled the ball, everyone would turn around and say, well, why didn't you kick the field goal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
You're damned if you
why
do.
are you
Damned if you don't.
trying messing around doing that?
See, that's the joys of a
Some weird
sports
thing
man,
happens.
isn't it?
It goes into you know Iron Mano's hands, and then he deflects it, and somebody intercepts it, and the game's over. So I think that was the right choice. I mean, it's nice to have had Cam getting the winning score, but I think we'd all settle for a win, however it was done today. Maybe
Yeah,
if it comes to the end of the season and we're not in the playoffs, then yeah, Cam go for the touchdown pass.
Well, that's it.
yeah,
I think playoffs are they're going to be a long shot, but we've got to win now, so there's every possibility. But like you say, once you're out of contention in the playoffs, that's where I think you're right. That's where you should be saying, yeah, let's go for it because let's finish the drive off, finish on a high. But I say when you've lost, well, I haven't won in 10, 0 and 4. Do you know what? You've got to rely on your kicker, and you've sometimes you've got to win ugly. It's always nice to have the Hollywood ending, but that final drive and that final catch right on the line, and it's brilliant. But again, at the same time, I think the team needed a victory. I mean,
Yeah.
not winning 10 games, not bad, isn't it? Like I say, sometimes you expect to pick up the wins here and there. You find, lose, you could lose 10 out of 15, but to lose 10 in a row starts breeding a losing mentality. I made a video earlier today, and I mentioned that winning is breed winning. It can make people think differently. So hopefully, when we play the Raiders next, it's going to be a bit more of a more of a mental side of it. So they're going to want to win mentally. They've got over that kind of like losing run, and just try and get that kind of thought process that we can win this now. And it'd be nice for the fans to see a win as well. I'll keep thinking that as well because I did see a lot of fans on various different forums last night, not just ours, James. Lots of fans were giving up and they've had enough. And I can't blame them, in all honesty, because it is horrible, isn't it, when you're just constantly losing. So just so you know, I was looking online earlier. So apparently we've got a 19.1% chance of getting to the playoffs. Do you guys think that's low or high or?
that's far too high.
Probably high, but
Yeah, I saw
being
that. I did chuckle.
realistic. But hey, you can always dream of what's happening. I mean, let's
Well,
face it, you've got
that
one
that's
win
what
now. Raiders
Chat
coming up.
GBT knows what it's talking about. 19.1. When we win next week, it will probably get to about 26%. So it's better than I've seen other graphics and they've kind of said 3%. And to be fair, I was
Oh,
happy
that's
with
what I
3% the
thought.
other week.
It would have to be a monumental collapse by the Colts, and I think the Texans are starting to look good as well. I know they played like a pretty banged up Ravens, but
Yeah, the
they
Texans look good,
look
didn't they?
good. I've not really kept much up on with the Jags, but it would have to be a monumental like shift. We'd have to win out to make the playoffs, I think. But even to be like a wild card, because I think the Colts will probably win the division quite easily. The way they're playing. Although their kicker is now injured, so there's a
Yeah.
possibility. But they didn't even need him yesterday. It was ridiculous. It wasn't a good advert for kickers yesterday for the Colts. They don't need them. They just kept going for the 2 point
Well,
conversions
yeah, they
and they
kept getting it, didn't
convert.
they?
It's ridiculous.
Did you see the injury that he got?
I didn't see. I saw him hobble off. It's annoying
Yeah,
because I my fantasy team.
I saw the injury, and to be fair, he only caught him just though. But you do wonder about these punters when you see it was that guy we had last season. I can't remember his name now. When he broke his leg. Um,
Bonus.
So
yeah, like I say, the players are getting a bit too close to the kickers now a little bit, and you just kind of you do worry a bit now that we are going to see a lot more injuries to these guys, and you know they're not built the same as the NFL players are they? Obviously their job is just to kick the ball, so they're not as bigger built and I don't want to say as strong because that's probably not fair on the player.
Tell
But
that to Sly. He's a unit.
well, exactly. But a lot of them are kind of skinny players, aren't they? So,
Yeah.
but you don't want to see them get injured, do you? Really? But again, I guess, well, it's a physical game, so it's going to happen, isn't it? So any more thoughts on the game from last night? Then you guys want to talk about? Are we happy with Callahan now? Is he going to get past week 9? I don't think he is.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I thought the offensive line looked better again than it did last week and the week before. I mean, they only gave up 2 sacks, and the Cam was not nearly as under as much pressure as he's been on the previous games. So I thought that was improvement. Although we gave up 6 penalties, but 3 of those were on the special teams. Let's face it, on special teams, you return a punt or a kickoff is nearly 1 in 2 times a penalty scored against someone. So I think they were 2 positives. And I thought that, I mean, the defence obviously thought the game started an hour later because they didn't turn up in the first quarter at all. But from then on, they actually play reasonably well, apart from the big run, the 70-yard run, which is something that the Titans have had a problem with over the last 8 or 9 games, is that they're nearly always giving up one big run through the middle where they get through the line and there's no one in the middle to stop anybody. That's something they need to address.
Big Jeff had another game, didn't he?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Another standout game. I think that run defense gets a lot better when Sweat comes back. Cedric Gray had another good game. 12 tackles, I think, this time. Obviously, it wasn't at the heights of the 17 from last week, but he's looking good. He's kind of come on a bit from, who was he picked last year? No, yeah, last season he was picked.
He was injured quite a bit, wasn't he, as well?
Yeah. So he's coming on. And Winston was back in the game. I was not expecting great things initially from him, but nice to see him on the field.
Yeah.
I've got to admit, I did get quite angry during the game yesterday when Kyler Murray just went straight through when he got scored a touchdown at one point. That really annoyed me. That did. Like I say, I don't know what it is. The teams against us seem to find these massive gaps, and it's like they're that big of a gap that nobody, like you said, David, there's nobody there nearby to even try and stop them. And I don't know how we'd stop that going forward. Really, well, I guess it's just better positioning, really, isn't it? And just I've had a pop up quote. Yeah, just better positioning and just kind of just got to stop these silly runs. Got to stop what's going on. But I mean, just going back to Callahan again. So let's say we win. Let's say we win 5 this season, and we see improvements week on week. Would you keep him for the following season?
It depends on the level of improvement that's gone on through the year. I mean, if it was 5 wins like yesterday, probably not. But if they're winning at the end some games quite comfortably and putting up against the tougher teams, they're playing a tough game, they just happen to lose to a better side, then yeah, he can keep his job, I think. But look, it really depends. I wouldn't say necessarily it's 5 more wins and he has to win 6, otherwise he's out. It depends on the nature of the way they play.
Yeah, it's just improvement, isn't it? You just want to see. I don't want to see any more blowouts. I mean, do I think it's possibly going to happen again? Probably. The way we're playing, we'll have to win a couple more games quite convincingly for me to start thinking otherwise. But I don't want to be blown out again. And you want to see, a few more wins, a convincing win. And then when we lose him, we're losing by like a score or a field goal, something like that. So we're always in a game. I think we've not really been in a game until this one. Even then, I didn't think we were in it at the fourth quarter, but miracles happen. But yeah, you just want to say improvement, like Cam getting more completed passes, his accuracy up a bit, like sorting certain things out on defense. At the end of the day, if we're coming up against teams like the Lions or something, I'm not expecting to win it. But if we can hold our own against them, you would be quite happy considering what they've got as of the offense. You just don't want to get embarrassed. But when you're playing teams like the Colts or the Texans, who have like one or two good players, but you're getting blown out by them. That's just embarrassing. You don't want to see that. So yeah, I don't want to see that, especially to mid-tier teams.
Well, that's, I mean, that brings us nicely onto the Raiders, who we're playing next week. Again, another 9 o'clock kickoff, which is frustrating. They're 1-4. So again, Raiders fall into that category of teams that we should be holding our own against. And you'd like to think that they're not having a good season either. You know, if we lose to them, you want to lose competitively. You want, like you say, you want to be in the game. Not just in the game in the last 5 minutes, in the game as in like the whole game. Because obviously, I only saw the first 2 quarters yesterday. But by the sounds of it, the third quarter was the worst one of the lot. So I know what you're saying. I don't want Callahan to lose his job. I'd like to think the management know what they're doing when they employed him, although Fran's gone now. So you just hope that he can improve week in, week out, and not this isn't just the only win we're going to get this season. So lean into the Raiders game then, guys. Do you think we've got a chance of winning that to go 2-4?
Well, it depends on how the offense play. I mean, we can't really rely on the defense too much during a game. They can keep us in it, but they're not going to win the game. So, I mean, if Cam has 2 or 3 drives in the game of the quality of the drives at the end of the game, then yeah, I think we can win quite easily against the Raiders. Because the defense is, I mean, I don't think they have necessarily that strong an offense for them. The Raiders do. So I think we can beat them quite easily if we play well. And that's the big question.
It's a bit of a good mix up or matchup, I should say. We've got Crosby, who's like probably the danger man. I don't know what's going on with Bowers, sorry. He was out, I think, last game, and he's saying apparently he's suffering with a knee injury that he's had all season. Um, and then the rest, Geno Smith leads the league, I think, in interceptions as well. So it could be a good one for our secondary to really see where they stand up against him. I say, yeah, so you kind of got both sides of it. Our defense should be all right against them. They're not the greatest. We've got to be careful of Crosby off the right because we obviously at the moment we've got a backup right tackle. So it'd be interesting to see how he fares against them. But yeah, I don't want to count my. I don't want to start like jinxing it and stuff like that. But we're in this little patch at the moment of teams where you think there could be a result. All up to like the Patriots as well, isn't it? You think you get a result after unfortunately they beat the Bills last night, and which now makes you think, probably not going to beat the Patriots, which will be even more embarrassing. As long as we don't get blown out by them, I couldn't stand that. But yeah, I think when there's a little patch of winnable games, it depends who turns up. If the Ridley turns up from the fourth quarter yesterday, we can win it. But if the Ridley from the other 3 quarters turns up, we've got no chance.
On yesterday's game again, how do you think Sweat played? Did he get many games, many snaps yesterday? Or
He's on IR.
Yeah, he's
I
out.
thought,
Yeah,
I thought
no,
he was back.
he got
No,
put
not
on
not
IR.
Sweat, not Sweat. The running back. I've got his name. I'm all over the place today.
Oh, Spears.
Spears, that's it. I knew we got with an S. Did he get many chances yesterday?
Yeah, he had quite a few chances. He didn't do much.
I thought they used him incorrectly. They just used him as a run through the middle kind of running back. He's normally good off the edges and kind of taking those like the quarterback tosses or like a third down back.
No.
But they seem to be doing a lot of. He didn't do a lot of the grunt work. Pollard was doing that, but they were running him through the middle. Now that's not to his strengths. Like he's
Well,
not.
it is quite good though that Pollard isn't in every game now and every snap he's not there. So at least he can have a break every so often. So it does give us now another option there. So because I think Pollard, if you watch the previous games, you could see as the games are going on, he was struggling to get into the game a little bit. And I think maybe it's because they've used him too much. So at least now with him being back, it gives them alternative options to use. But if you're saying that if they used him the same way, it's a bit pointless, really, isn't it? Because if you're going to use him, try something different because he is a different kind of player, isn't he?
Yeah, you'd expect them to use Chestnut as probably the swap in for for Pollard and use Spears a bit more conservatively, or use him as a third down back and, like I say, off the edges, and use a bit more as a target man rather than an actual ground and pound running back.
What's funny about Pollard is though that he's not actually that big when you see him. He's quite a shortish man, and you think, yeah, he goes through the middle. I think it's because he's so elusive and spins around, and gets out of tackles that way rather than, I say like a Henry type, just brute force going
Say,
through.
you
People just
say
don't
he's
want
not.
to tackle.
You say he's not big, but I bet if he stood next to you, he'd look absolutely huge.
The thing I will say is Pollard has. Oh, he's probably been our best player this season, I would say. He's been consistent. He's tried. We've just not had great run blocks, run defense. Oh, not run defense. We've not had a good run blocking. But he's just turned up every game. I like Pollard. He's definitely. It'd be interesting to see if he can get over 1K yards. I think he would struggle this year, but I do like him.
Yeah, like you say, he's not like a Derrick Henry. He's not going to get you these 100-yard bursts like we've seen in the past, where he runs from one end to the other. He's that different kind of player where he's going to get you short gains, isn't he? So I think we were blessed with the years with Derrick Henry. So we used I think we expect more from the running backs because that's what we've had in the past. So I think that's kind of he's a different kind of player, isn't he? Which is it's not a bad thing, but it is frustrating. So we are entering the last minute here, guys. So anything you want to add in the last few seconds we've got to go?
A win this weekend.
Oh yeah, that'd
Next
be nice,
weekend.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, if we go for, I'm going to say 17-13 to the Titans. I'll write that down so I can remember that.
I think there'd be a few more points in this game, actually. I would have thought something like 24-18.
James,
Do you
very
know
quickly.
what? I'm going to be positive, and I'm going to say we're going to get over 30 points. I'm not going to say what the result's going to be, but I reckon we're going to get over 30.
30 plus. I look forward to having that chat on Sunday night. Well, we better go because we're about to lose the time. So, guys, thanks for joining me once more. Again, whoever's watched and enjoyed this, I hope you watched and enjoyed this. Come along, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube,